So on Monday, July 20th, Eris, the dwarf planet and my favorite planet, or TNO, trans-Neptunian object, begins its annual retrograde through Eris, which has been there since I think 1926. It's been going through Eris for a very long time because it's so far away from the Earth's orbit and the sun. So what I think is really interesting about Eris is that I think that this archetype has been really oversimplified and kind of misrepresented in terms of its archetypal nature, both personally and collectively. So in the mythology of Eris, Eris is Ares, the god of war. It's his sister, who is supposedly the goddess of chaos and discord. That's a pretty hefty title. Well, in the mythology, what becomes really obvious as you're reading it is that in some ways she was actually really kind of an other in terms of the pantheon of gods and goddesses. And so I experience her more as a scapegoat, where she didn't really belong and she was very much rejected. And then there was kind of a retaliation that happened. And I think that's where her reputation of chaos actually came from. So in astrology, if we kind of use this mythology to inform what the archetype may represent in both the natal chart and kind of the planetary context, we can really see that in natal charts, Eris is really often associated with a sense of not belonging and kind of this lone wolf mentality, or often it's also really common in aspect to the sun, the moon, or the rising to be associated with like a really clear sense of not belonging, such as whether that may be through who belongs in kind of the traditional sense, especially in America, and who doesn't belong. So this would be whether because of race or religion or a different ability or sexual orientation. These would be examples of things that, if they're not a part of the norm, that would give or create a sense of not belonging in the collective. So if we look at that then in a collective level, especially in the United States case, there's a history of kind of xenophobia and needing like a scapegoat, right? Like needing a group of people to put all of the shadow projections of our culture onto. It's like we need an enemy in order to feel a sense of unity or a sense of identity. So in the USA natal chart, there is actually a Eris is opposite the sun. And so this really suggests that there is this sense of the United States history and kind of formation of it as a country is really centered around kind of needing to make enemies. You know, this would explain why there's so much of this kind of militarized sense of needing protection, where if other people are enemies and we make other people enemies, then we're going to need to protect ourselves often and kind of against both imagined threats and real. So with the retrograde happening through January 11th, 2021, this gives us a real opportunity to kind of look at both personally and collectively, where are we othering, where are we scapegoating? Where do we kind of create tension or create difficulty instead of owning our own shadow projections? So this would all be a really beautiful way to kind of work with it. And of course, if you are interested in exploring what Eris is doing in your natal chart, you can look it up for free on astro.com or, of course, have a session with me. All right, bye.